My good people, we are gathered here today to talk about the Dana dilemma.
You cannot convince me otherwise that Sexy Red is not an industry plant that was put here to help finalize the destroying of the black woman image. They was already had us under attack.
I've been noticing a lot of talk about Dana Dane 1987 on TikTok and beyond. Hell, I logged on to Instagram, Facebook. I think I logged on to MySpace and saw that her video was reposted. So let me go ahead and talk about things that I think we can gain from a personality like Dana's. Okay, so personally, my personal opinion, I like Dana. And here's why. I like her because she tells it like it is from her perspective. She tells it like it is, and she is brutally honest from her perspective. And emphasis on her perspective. Now, this is no diss to Dana, but this is just me thinking objectively. If everything she says is true about her life, grew up in a privileged lifestyle, meaning that she wasn't sitting around mama using, daddy abusing, people in and out of jail, all of the drama and trauma that comes with living the black life. A majority of us are born of and live in trauma. And it's not until we get to our ripe old ages of the 30s and the 40s till we realize how much of that trauma actually controls the destiny of our lives. So therefore, our 20s and our 30s look like a crash into reality. We were crashing, we were high, we were low, we learned a lot. But it's because of the foundation from whence we came, and a majority of black people are born of a trauma-filled childhood lifestyle. We understand innately, we understand struggle, innately we understand pain, but it is hard and difficult to understand someone who is of melanated hue, who has not had the same types of trials and tribulations, which appears to be foreign to us. Even if you had your daddy in the household, a lot of you know that your mama was still running the household. So at the end of the day, most of us grew up in female-dominated households because they had to be. And most of us experienced such a lifestyle of going through a ton of shit early on and having to cope with and figure it out early on. Therefore, we are not used to someone who does not represent the trauma that has become the fabric of the consciousness of the black community. And I think that we can learn from and need to check ourselves a little bit on that.
It's about Brittany Renner. So I like Brittany Renner, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I like Brittany Renner, because she owns who she is. She ain't never made excuses for who she is. She don't ever try to backpedal on who she is. She own it 10 toes down. And even if I don't agree with the stuff she do, I can respect the fact that she don't be making excuses.
When you guys say that she depicts characteristics of being judgmental, critical, and respectability politics, to me, those are fair assessments. Because yes, we do see that echoed as a sentiment throughout. She absolutely calls women out on their degenerate shit, as well as she calls men out on their degenerate shit. And it looks like she's sitting on a throne looking down on other people. And that's our go-to move as black folks. But let me give you a different perspective, if you're open to it. The different perspective I want to give you is perhaps someone does not have to be in the trenches with you to actually comment on the fact that what you're doing is self-destructive and self-abasing. They don't have to necessarily understand the exact momentum and protocol and wayward ass twisted thinking that you've had to deal with in order to, survive. You may notice that even in the respectability politics, it appears to be like you have to have this particular pretty girl aesthetic. and that pretty girl aesthetic or that look may resemble and be more closely related to Europeanized ideologies of beauty. Okay? We can agree that there is some semblance of that. But the truth is, the things that she does talk about are prevalent in our community. They're destroying our community from the inside out. Even with this whole Sexy Red business.
Hey, Miss Sexy Red that made herself into my comment section. It's nice to have you here, young thug.
We're acting as if there hasn't been an agenda to over-sexualize black women and acts of dehumanization. So when you dehumanize a group of people enough to the point where you don't see them as a viable human being, it is okay for you to then commit acts of violence, rage, unalive them because they're not seen as human. Then it's easier to commit acts of violence to you and no one cares. So while we are saying that this young woman is problematic because of her background, we're ignoring the fact that the content of her message has validity and that we will all suffer under the hands of this particular larger agenda in the media simply because we don't like whose mouth it's coming from.